being wealthy and being rich are usually two very different things. Often, rich is on full display, where wealthy can be hidden. Hello everyone, my name is Zach, and welcome to On Cash Flow, where I help you become a master of your own cash flow. Now let's get started. The textbook definition of wealthy and rich, they get it wrong. The dictionary gets it wrong because it defines wealthy and rich as practically the same thing. But internally, deep down inside, you and I, we both know this to be false. There is a big difference. Here's the definition that I think that most of us should be aware of. Rich can mean income. It can mean spending. It can be a very lavish lifestyle, of spending and having a high amount of income. Someone making a lot of money, you could say that they are rich. However, wealthy is something completely different. You can be rich and be wealthy, but often you can be wealthy and not rich. Wealth is having the accumulation of lots of assets. Okay, and those assets can take many different forms. They can be index funds, it can be real estate, it can be technically having a lot of cash. But the point is, having a lot of assets usually means having a lot of wealth, whereas rich can be differentiated from having lots of assets. You can be rich and not have very many assets. It's like the age-old saying of comparing an income statement versus a balance sheet. The income statement shows your income and where your money flows out through your expenses, right? Now your balance sheet, that shows your assets and that shows your liabilities, right? So someone who's wealthy might have lots of assets and very little liabilities. Someone who's rich might have lots of income, but lots of expenses. So this, I think, is the better textbook definition of differentiating rich and wealthy. However, we can take it a step further in the financial independence community because we might define wealthy as something completely different and removed from all that financial stuff. And really quick, I want to interject and say, I have another video that I know is going to be applicable to you. So wait till the end of this video, okay? And I'm going to point you right to it. So we've already established that being wealthy is having a large accumulation of assets. At what point do you become wealthy? When do you finally reach that point where now you're wealthy, right? Before you're not wealthy and now you're wealthy. Where is that point? How do you reach that point and where is that little crossover? Well, in the financial independence community, we define you as being wealthy once you become financially independent. However, there's a problem with that, right? People become financially independent on very different numbers. Some people become financially independent on $500,000, some on $1 million. Some need $2.5 million to become financially independent. So who's right here? When do you actually become wealthy? If financial independence is considered being wealthy, why are there so many different numbers? There can't be different points, right? With different crossovers. That's where you and I define wealth as something that's actually removed from the financial side. There is no one set crossover point because wealth is completely relative. Someone having $500,000, even in the United States, is very wealthy compared to the vast majority of Americans. By comparison to many other countries around the world, they are incredibly wealthy. Even though a millionaire might not feel very wealthy at all, compared to many countries around the world, they are extremely wealthy. But when you take a simple millionaire who has $1 million and you compare him to a billionaire, they're not wealthy at all, right? So wealth is completely relative and there is no one crossover point. Instead, that's why in the financial independence community, we define wealth more as having control over your time. That's because time is the ultimate non-renewable resource. Time is probably the most important thing that you and I possess. And here's the thing, here's the kicker here. We all, regardless of who you are, regardless of whether you're a millionaire, a billionaire, or you're me, you have 24 hours in a day. We all have 24 hours in a day, right? Because we invented that. We invented the 24 hours. That's how we account for it. That's how we account for the sun going and coming. There is only 24 hours in a day for all of us. And having control over those 24 hours is what ultimately leads to the ultimate wealth. Having control over your time makes that whole numbers, how much assets you have, how much income do you have, pretty much irrelevant. But you know what is not relative and is actually absolute? is the number of likes on this video. So if you're enjoying this video, please make sure you hit that like button. It would really help me out and I would really appreciate that. Okay, but seriously, getting back to it. Wealth is no longer just what is your net worth. It used to be, hey, here's my assets, here are my liabilities. Assets minus liabilities equals my net worth. This is how wealthy I am. Now your wealth is now how much control do you have over that 24 hours in your day. In order to figure that out, not only do you need to control your income, but you also need to control your expenses, because both of those are going to ultimately determine how much free time or how much time that you have in order to do the things that you want to do with that 24 hours that are in your day. When are you wealthy? Well, when do you have full control over your time? That is the big question here. And that is still one that cannot be answered with a single number. You are wealthy when you are able to redirect the hours that you had to spend working before or had to spend earning money in order to support your lifestyle. When you can actually turn that around and instead redirect that towards the activities that you want to do, whether they be paid activities or whether they be unpaid activities, that is when you have achieved real wealth. There are some things that we do in our life that we have to spend our time on. We have to spend our time cooking if we want to eat, right? But the more wealthy you are, the more control you can have over that time as well. There are some things that you can actually buy back your time. You can buy back time from shopping at the grocery store, right? Instead of spending an hour going into from the grocery store, you can buy back some of that time by ordering grocery delivery. Same thing with cooking the food itself. Like you can buy back some of that time if you're able to hire a personal chef or something like that. So some things you can have more control over your time by buying back that time rather than doing some of these chores that everyone has to do. You can buy that back. So how much control overall do you have over that 24 hours? That is the much better solution to how wealthy are you? How many of those 24 hours are you able to control? I really want to know from you in the comments below. Do you agree or do you disagree with these kind of statements here? Is wealth control over your time, or is there really a financial aspect of it? Do you think that becoming wealthy, there actually is a crossover? Please let me know in the comments below. I'm really curious to hear what you have to say. But as promised, I do have another video for you. And this video is tailor-picked for you by YouTube, okay? YouTube has all those analytics that they have on you, and they know the best video for you that I have created, okay? It's gonna pop up right on the screen after I get off the screen, so make sure you watch that video because it is specifically selected for you. Thank you so much for watching this video. I'm Zach from uncashflow.com, and I hope to see you next time. Even though you might not feel that there are some things in our life where, and